Have you ever stared at the ceiling in the middle of the night, feeling like the world is fast asleep except for you? And in that quiet, lonely hour, have you ever thought, maybe just one pill would help? If you've ever reached for a sleeping pill out of pure exhaustion, frustration, or fear that your body is forgetting how to rest, you are not alone. And you are not weak. But before you open that bottle tonight, I'd like to gently invite you to pause. Not because sleep doesn't matter. It matters more than ever. But because the path to true rest might not be hidden inside a pill. It may lie in understanding your body better, especially at this stage of life. Today, we're going to talk about why sleeping pills, while tempting, might not be the solution many women over 60 hope they are. And more importantly, we'll walk through the hidden risks, real stories from women like you, and safer ways to help your body find the peace it needs to truly rest. Let's begin by looking at why sleeping pills often become the go-to choice, and what we might be overlooking in the process. As we age, our relationship with sleep changes. It becomes lighter, more fragmented. We wake up more easily, and sometimes stay awake longer. Hormonal shifts, chronic pain, anxiety, even loneliness, these things don't just live in our minds. They echo in our bodies when the lights go out. And when night after night feels restless, it's easy to start fearing bedtime itself. This is when many women turn to what feels like the only reliable escape, a sleeping pill. But here's the truth that often goes unspoken. What seems like a gentle aid to sleep may actually be interfering with the very thing we're trying to restore. Let's talk about the first concern, the way sleeping pills affect our brains and our balance. You see, most sleeping pills, whether they're prescribed medications like benzodiazepines or over-the-counter antihistamines, don't create natural sleep. They sedate. That means they don't help you enter the deep, restorative stages of sleep your brain and body crave. Instead, they simply knock you out. You may be unconscious, but your brain isn't getting the repair time it really needs. And there's something else. Sedation affects how your brain communicates with your muscles. It dulls your coordination. For a younger person, this might mean a bit of grogginess the next day. But for someone in their 60s or 70s, it can mean a serious fall. One woman shared that after a week of taking a commonly prescribed sleep aid, she began to notice she was bumping into furniture. She assumed she was just tired. But then she tripped on the stairs one morning, landing in the hospital with a fractured wrist. Her doctor gently told her that the sleep medication likely played a role, not just in her fatigue, but in her slowed reaction time and loss of balance. This isn't rare. In fact, the risk of falls and fractures increases significantly in older adults who regularly take sedatives at night. And when you live alone, the consequences can be even more dangerous. So what's the alternative? Instead of sedation, your body needs rhythm. And one of the most powerful tools you can use is a consistent bedtime and wake-up routine. It sounds simple, but the science behind it is strong. When your body knows what to expect, your internal clock starts working with you instead of against you. Even if sleep doesn't come immediately, staying consistent helps retrain your natural rhythms over time. Let's move to the second concern, memory and brain fog. Many women report that after using sleeping pills for a few weeks or months, they begin to feel mentally off. Words don't come as easily. They feel foggy during the day. Some even fear they might be developing early signs of dementia. One woman, in her late 60s, began taking a sleeping pill during a period of intense grief after her husband passed away. At first, it helped her get through the night. But after several months, she realized she was struggling to remember conversations, losing track of appointments, and even forgetting simple tasks like turning off the stove. She was terrified. When she spoke with a geriatric specialist, she learned that the medication she was taking, while helpful in the short term, was known to interfere with memory formation and attention, especially in older adults. This is because the parts of the brain responsible for memory, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, are sensitive to sedatives. Over time, regular use can dull these areas, making it harder to concentrate, learn, and recall. So what can help instead? In many cases, gentle mind-body practices like mindfulness meditation have been shown to improve both sleep and cognitive function. In a study of older adults with insomnia, those who practiced 20 minutes of mindfulness daily slept better and reported fewer memory complaints than those who took sleep aids. The key was consistency, not perfection. And even 5 to 10 minutes a night can begin to rewire the mind toward calm. Let's move now to a third concern, emotional dependence. This one is often invisible because it doesn't show up in the body right away, but it runs deep. Over time, many people begin to believe they simply can't sleep without their pill. Even on nights when they feel tired, they reach for it, just in case. It becomes a kind of bedtime ritual, and eventually, the idea of trying to sleep without it feels frightening. That's not your fault. These medications were designed to feel like an easy solution. And when you're exhausted, of course you want something that works fast. But dependence isn't just about physical addiction. It's about the belief that your own body can no longer find rest without help. That belief can slowly chip away at your confidence and independence. And that matters deeply, especially as we grow older. One woman, in her early 70s, described the moment she decided to wean off her nightly pill. She had planned a trip to visit her daughter and realized, while packing, that she was more anxious about forgetting her medication than forgetting her passport. That's when it hit her. Her freedom had become tied to that small bottle. With the help of her doctor, she slowly tapered off. It wasn't easy. There were restless nights and moments of doubt. But after a few weeks, something changed. She began waking up feeling clearer, more alert. And for the first time in years, she felt proud of her sleep. Not because it was perfect, but because it was hers. If you've ever felt that kind of emotional reliance on a sleeping aid, know that you're not weak or broken. You're human, and your body is more resilient than you think. Instead of reaching for the pill out of habit, try creating a new nighttime ritual that tells your brain it's safe to rest. That could be a warm bath with lavender oil, soft instrumental music, or reading something calming, not stimulating, under dim light. These small cues send signals to your brain that it's time to slow down. And over time, they can become powerful tools that replace the medication with something gentler and more empowering. We've talked about 3 important risks so far: loss of balance, memory fog, and emotional dependence. But there's one more I want to share with you before we continue: how sleeping pills can sometimes mask deeper health issues. Many women assume their insomnia is just part of aging. But in some cases, difficulty sleeping can be a symptom, not the root problem. For instance, undiagnosed sleep apnea is surprisingly common in older women. It can cause frequent nighttime awakenings, morning headaches, and daytime fatigue. But if a person takes a sleeping pill instead of addressing the apnea, it can actually make the condition worse, because the body becomes less responsive to breathing interruptions. There was a case where a woman in her mid-60s started taking sleep aids because she felt like she never stayed asleep for more than an hour or 2. The pills helped her stay asleep longer, but she began waking up feeling breathless and exhausted. After undergoing a sleep study, doctors discovered she had moderate sleep apnea. The sedative had dulled her brain's ability to respond to oxygen drops during the night. Her real healing began not with a pill, but with a proper diagnosis and a tailored sleep treatment plan. And from there, her energy, clarity, and confidence began to return. That brings us to an important turning point, because understanding the risks isn't meant to make us fearful. It's meant to open the door to something better. In the second half of this video, we'll explore the tools and strategies that truly support deep, nourishing sleep as we age, from what we eat, to how we move, to how we calm the nervous system gently at night. And if you've been struggling with sleep for a long time, I want you to know there is hope, and it doesn't have to come in a bottle. So where do we go from here? Once we understand that sleeping pills carry risks, and that they often mask deeper issues rather than solving them, it's natural to ask, what else can we do? What's left when you take away the quick fix? The answer is both simpler and more powerful than we often think. Because rather than chasing sleep through chemicals, we can learn to create the right conditions for sleep to return to us naturally. And yes, that takes time. It takes patience, but the rewards are deeper rest, clearer mornings, and a greater sense of control over our health. Let's begin with something so basic it's easy to overlook: light. Our brains are deeply influenced by light exposure. That's because light affects the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle. As we get older, melatonin levels tend to drop naturally. But when we spend our days mostly indoors, especially in low light, or when we're exposed to bright screens late at night, our brain gets confused. It doesn't know when it's time to wake up, or when it's safe to rest. There's a simple shift that can make a world of difference. Try stepping outside in the morning, ideally within an hour of waking up. even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. Natural daylight, especially in the first half of the day, helps reset your internal clock. It tells your body, it's morning now, and that makes it easier for your body to release melatonin when night comes. In the evening, lower the lights. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Choose warm, soft lighting, like the glow of a lamp or even candlelight. This gentle transition helps your nervous system prepare for rest. And over time, it trains your body to expect sleep, not to resist it. Now let's talk about food and drink, because what we consume during the day plays a quiet but powerful role at night. Many women don't realize that caffeine can linger in the body far longer than it feels. Even if your last cup of coffee was at noon, a sensitive system might still have traces of caffeine interfering with sleep 10 hours later. The same goes for certain teas, colas, and even chocolate. And alcohol, though it might make you feel sleepy at first, often leads to disrupted sleep later in the night. It can suppress REM sleep, increase nighttime awakenings, and worsen breathing problems like snoring or apnea. If sleep has been fragile for you, consider experimenting with cutting out caffeine entirely for a few weeks. Replace that afternoon coffee with herbal tea, something calming like chamomile, lemon balm, or passion flower. Many women find they sleep more soundly just by making this change. Now, what about the role of movement? It may seem unrelated, but regular physical activity is one of the most consistently proven ways to improve sleep, especially for older adults. It doesn't have to mean vigorous exercise or long gym sessions. In fact, gentle movement often works best. A daily walk, light gardening, tai chi, water aerobics, anything that gets your body moving and your circulation flowing. These activities help regulate your circadian rhythm, reduce anxiety, and make your body more ready for rest when evening comes. But here's a helpful tip. Try not to exercise too close to bedtime. For most people, the best time for movement is earlier in the day, morning or early afternoon, so your body has time to wind down naturally. Let's turn now to something quieter, but just as powerful, calming the nervous system. So many women carry stress in their bodies without realizing it. Tension in the jaw, shallow breathing, a racing heart when the lights go out. Even if your mind feels calm, your body might still be holding on to worry or overstimulation from the day. This is where calming rituals can become a healing part of your sleep journey. And no, they don't have to be complicated. One of the most effective tools is deep, slow breathing. Try this simple rhythm before bed. Inhale gently for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale slowly for a count of 6. Do this for a few minutes while lying in bed, or even sitting quietly beforehand. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for relaxation and digestion. Another gentle tool is progressive muscle relaxation. Start with your toes. Tense the muscles slightly, then let go. Then move up to your calves, your thighs, your stomach, your hands, your shoulders, one area at a time. This helps release stored tension and brings your attention into the body, rather than the thoughts in your head. Some women also find comfort in guided meditations or sleep stories, especially ones designed specifically for older adults. These are available on many free apps and websites. They offer a soothing voice to guide you into rest, especially on nights when silence feels too heavy. And here's something else that matters more than most people realize: emotional safety. Sleep isn't just a physical state, it's a psychological one. We can only fall into deep rest when we feel safe, settled, and not on high alert. For those who live alone, or who've experienced loss, illness, or trauma, bedtime can stir up emotions we don't always want to face. One woman described how, after her husband passed, the quiet of bedtime felt unbearable. She didn't want to sleep because the silence reminded her of what she'd lost. So she stayed up with the TV on, night after night, until she finally collapsed from exhaustion. With time and support, she began creating new bedtime rituals, lighting a candle, wrapping herself in a weighted blanket, reading comforting poetry aloud. These small acts became part of her healing, and her sleep began to return, not because she forced it, but because she created space for it. If any part of your sleep struggle feels emotional, know that this is valid, and you are not alone. Journaling before bed, just 5 or 10 minutes, can be a powerful tool to release the weight of the day. Write down what you're grateful for, what you're letting go of, or even the things that feel unfinished. This act of putting thoughts on paper helps the mind feel done for the day. And that sense of closure, however small, can invite sleep in. We've covered a lot, but it all comes back to this. Your body was made to sleep. Even if it feels broken right now, or unpredictable, or unfamiliar, it hasn't forgotten how. It just needs the right support and a little bit of trust. And trust can be rebuilt. The key is to be gentle with yourself, to stay curious, not critical, to notice what helps you feel calmer in the evening, and to build small rituals around those things. Not all at once, just one change at a time. Sleep isn't a battle to win. It's a relationship to rebuild. And yes, there may still be nights that feel long. That's okay. What matters most is that you're approaching rest with more awareness, more compassion, and more agency. That's the real medicine. Before we end, I want to leave you with one final thought. So many older women have been told that poor sleep is just part of aging, that it's something we have to live with, or medicate, or suffer through. But that's simply not true. You have more power than you think, and you have more options than you've been told. With time, with patience, and with the right kind of support, better sleep is possible without relying on something that comes in a bottle. So tonight, maybe try turning off the screens a little earlier. Step outside in the morning. Brew yourself a calming cup of tea. Wrap yourself in something soft. Breathe slowly. And remind yourself that rest isn't something you have to chase. It's something that, with care, returns. And if this message resonated with you, if it made you feel a little more hopeful or a little more empowered, please consider sharing it with someone you care about. Leave a comment below and let us know what helps you feel safe and calm before bed. Your story might be exactly what another woman needs to hear tonight. And if you'd like more gentle, science-backed videos like this one, about sleep, aging, and living fully after 60, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Because even though we may age alone, we don't have to walk this path without support. Sweet dreams, and take good care of yourself.